This video is sponsored by JumpShotTrainer.com. Perfect your jumper using JumpShotTrainer.com. Their method is proven to increase your shooting accuracy by eliminating resistance from your offhand. Use the link in the description box below to learn more. Yo, what is up guys? It's me, Exactly. So there was a lot of fuss surrounding LeBron James yesterday, as he officially opened up his public elementary school for at-risk kids in Akron, Ohio, where graduates of that school will be able to attend college for free at the University of Akron starting in 2021, which by the way is just amazing. It's great to see athletes or celebrity or these high profile people using their podium to do great things like this for the community, for the world. LeBron James has always said that his legacy is bigger than basketball itself, and this just proves this. Other than that though, LeBron James also did a very detailed interview with ESPN yesterday, his first ever real interview since he decided to join the Los Angeles Lakers. And for the majority of the interview, he was talking about his childhood and what drove him to open up his own public school, saying that he understands the struggle that these kids face every single day. He knows what it's like to not have a permanent home, bouncing from place to place, not knowing where your next meal is going to come from, and that he missed 80 days of school in his 4th grade year. I highly recommend that all of you check out the full interview. I'll have the links to it down in the description below, but just a warning that this interview is really going to want you to make LeBron James retire, not because you're sick of seeing him in the NBA, but so he can release his book and most likely come out with a documentary, since we all know that's going to happen. Anyways, after he was done discussing his early years of life, the topic of basketball of course came up. The topic of why exactly he chose to join the Los Angeles Lakers over other teams that could be more championship ready, such as the Houston Rockets or even the Philadelphia 76ers. LeBron James in this interview said that he did give serious thought to joining both the Rockets and the Sixers, but in the end, he enjoys the challenge. He wants to embrace the challenge of going to the Lakers and putting them back on the map, making them a championship level team once again.
And I definitely thought long and hard about the possibilities of lineup alongside Ben and Embiid, or lining up beside Harden and Chris. Just like when I went to Miami, everyone kind of looks at me joining a super team, but if people look at, I think Miami was 35 and 47, the year before I joined that team. And you can look at the Lakers, record from. So I like the challenge. I like the challenge of being able to help a team get to some places that they haven't been in quite a while.
Something that really caught my attention in that interview though was him comparing joining the Lakers to when he joined the Miami Heat. I do want to say that I think there are a little bit of differences between him joining the Heat and the Lakers. When LeBron James joined the Miami Heat, they were expected to win a championship that year. You have LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, and Chris Bosh on the same team. There was no one that thought they weren't going to win the championship that year. Whereas with the Lakers this upcoming season, I don't think anyone's expecting them to actually win a championship. So there are differences, but there are also, I guess, a little bit of similarities, since he's trying to put both organizations back on the path to becoming championship contenders once again. However, the really interesting part of this interview, at least for me, was when LeBron James was asked about his age, considering he's going on 34 years old. And once you start getting up in your mid to late 30s, the status quo of sports is that you will start to slow down, that you will be exiting your prime and no longer be able to play at the highest level. You look at a couple of LeBron James buddies in the NBA, Dwayne Wade and Carmelo Anthony. Both of them at this age aren't even close to the same players that they were 5 or 6 years ago. Dwayne Wade was of course slowed down by injuries that he had earlier in his career, and Carmelo Anthony, well, he's just for some reason not the same player. It's what's supposed to happen over time. However, when LeBron James was asked if he plans on slowing down now that he's getting up on age, he refused the idea that he can't be the same player that he's always been, that he can't play at the same level that he's always played at.
You're turning 34 this season though. How do you feel about the idea that what could be one of the last years of your prime is going to be more of a building year?
I don't even look at it like that, because I don't feel like this is one of the last years of my prime. I think that's another statistic number, and I've always been a part of beating the odds in life. So,
and here's what I want to talk about when it comes to LeBron James trying to basically redefine what it means to be an athlete. I love it. This dude has the mindset of just because it's never been done before doesn't mean that I can't do it. People used to think all different kinds of things were impossible. Back in the 1950s, it was deemed impossible to be able to run a mile in under 4 minutes. People thought that if you tried, your lungs would collapse or your heart would explode, that the human body literally just wasn't capable of running a mile in under 4 minutes. Then in 1954, a man by the name of Roger Bannister runs a mile in 3 minutes and 59 seconds, proving that wrong. And guess what? After that, all of a sudden, countless runners see that it's possible and they eventually run sub 4 minute miles as well. Here's the thing, LeBron James isn't just trying to play at a high level for himself. He's just not trying to extend his dominance over the NBA. He's not just trying to remain at the top just because he wants to remain at the top. He's trying to set an example for other players in the league, and especially an example for the future, the next generation of basketball players, saying, look, just because in the past the best years of a player's career was between 27 and 32, that doesn't mean that's what it has to be. That's just the mindset that players have had coming into it because that's what everyone else has done in the past. You think that you're gonna slow down at 32, so you start slowing down at 32. And that he himself was able to play at an elite level till he's 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, who knows? And now that other players, future generations see what he did, they see what's possible, they themselves can now do it too. They know it's possible, so why can't they do it? And the thing is, this isn't the first time that LeBron James has done something like this. A lot of people say that LeBron James is the founder of super teams in the NBA, for better or for worse, since he created the first super team in Miami, Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh. And this is partially true, but then again, LeBron James really wasn't the founder of super teams at all, since if you want to be technical about it, super teams have existed all throughout NBA history. For an example, let's go back to the early 2000s when the Lakers put the combination of Shaquille O'Neal and Kobe Bryant together. At the time, 2 top 5 players in the league. Just because of those 2 players, the Los Angeles Lakers were essentially a super team. And that team was created, manufactured by the Los Angeles Lakers. Fast forward around 10 years and the Boston Celtics do something similar, except this time instead of 2 guys, they have 3 top-notch players with Paul Pierce, Ray Allen, and Kevin Garnett. That was, in fact, a super team. So NBA front offices throughout the entire NBA history have been trying to assemble these super teams by getting players from other teams. It's been happening forever. LeBron James, though, just set the precedent for other players of being able to create their own super team, player-made super teams where a player can go play with other players they want to play, where players can go wherever they want, especially some of the game's elite. Because before LeBron James, it was thought that superstar level player should spend their entire career with one team. They should never leave the team. The team can trade them, sure, but they should never be the player to leave the team. LeBron James said, screw that, you know what, I'm going to do what I want to do. I'm going to do what's best for me, what's best for my career, what's best for my legacy. I'm taking this into my own hands. He set that example. He was the first player of his caliber to ever do something like that, to show players that they can do whatever they want. They don't have to be loyal to a team just because that's what people think they should be. And because of him, that's now going to be the norm in the NBA. We're going to be seeing it more and more and more. See, part of what LeBron James is trying to do with his title of one of the most influential athletes and people in general in the world is to break down barriers or restrictions that have been placed upon these athletes. This is just another part of the legacy of LeBron James. Now though, before we get into the next topic that we gotta talk about, I want to give you guys a rundown of some other things that have been going on in the world of basketball. And first up, Ben Simmons is doing some low-key recruiting for the Philadelphia 76ers, as he liked a tweet saying that Jamal Crawford would be a nice addition to the Philadelphia 76ers bench. Let me know what you guys think about that. Next up, we got a video of Russell Westbrook showing that even during the offseason, an offseason pickup game at the Rec, he still gives it 110%, playing as if it was just a regular season game or something, which It's kind of scary since the last thing you would want is for him to hurt himself during a random pickup game. Next up, Isaiah Thomas congratulated LeBron James in opening a school on Twitter by saying, "Congrats to my bro at King James, doing things that athletes have never done before. You inspired the whole world, killer. Keep it going, I know you will. Generation after generation is going to feel this one." Kind of adding to what I said in the first half of the video about LeBron James trying to set an example for future generations of once you make it to the top, this is what you do next. This is one way to give back. And lastly, Dwayne Wade said yesterday that he is still unsure as to whether or not he will return to basketball this upcoming season, saying that only time will tell. Look, I like to imagine that he'll come back for at least one last year. Let the fans appreciate him a little bit more instead of just being gone in the blink of an eye. And now on to the next topic of the day. And I've kind of made a couple of videos on this already, but I'm just going to use this news to talk about a subject that I've wanted to talk about for forever. And that is coaches holding players back or limiting what they are allowed to do on the court. So Andre Drummond has been working on expanding his game this offseason, kind of like he was last offseason, where we see video after video of him shooting threes and working on his handles. And last offseason, after we saw that, we thought that maybe he'd be incorporating that into his game, because why would he be working on it if he wasn't going to add it to his game? However, the season comes and we really don't see any of that. He's not really handling the ball much, and he's for sure not shooting any threes. So we all got pretty much hyped up for nothing. And that's why once this offseason started, even though we've seen him working on it even more, it's kind of been a thing where we're not 100% sure. This could just be like last summer where he's working on it or he's doing it, but we can't expect it to see it during the actual season. However, now that is not going to be the case whatsoever, as yesterday Andre Drummond confirmed that he will be doing these things during the season that he's been doing in his workout video. "I don't do stuff on the court just to have fun. If I'm taking these shots, it's because I'm working on it for the upcoming season. Those are shots that I'm going to be taking. I make at least 200 corner threes every day before I leave the gym. I'm getting them up. I'm getting the same shot up over and over again, so I'm getting more comfortable with it. It's been great so far." And here's what I want to say about coaches, certain NBA coaches. I strongly believe, and I'm just going to use SVG as an example here because this is what I know the best, but I strongly believe that if Stan Van Gundy was still the head coach of the Detroit Pistons, that Andre Drummond wouldn't be adding this to his game this upcoming season, that he would not be allowed to handle the ball or shoot threes. And Stan Van Gundy is an amazing human being. He's one of the nicest people ever. I've had the luxury of meeting him a couple of times, and he is truly a great person. No negative things about him personally, and I wish him all the best in his career and life going forward. That said, not every coach out there is the best when it comes to player development or getting the most out of the players that they have on their team. Some coaches are just so stuck in their ways and what they believe is right, what they believe is the right way to run an offense or defense or just a team in general, that they underutilize some of the players that they have on their team just because they don't know how to utilize those players to their fullest potential. Stan Van Gundy is one of those coaches, and there are others out there too. That's the whole reason why Hassan Whiteside and Eric Spoelstra didn't see eye to eye at all this past season. Like Andre Drummond, Hassan Whiteside was also working on expanding his game during the previous offseason. We saw countless videos of him shooting threes as well, even videos where he came out and said, "Yes, I am going to be shooting some threes." And then the season starts. First game of the season, he takes and makes a three. However, after that, he's never allowed to shoot a single three again. And now he's upset because, like I said, he had spent the entire summer working on adding other elements to his game, such as shooting threes. And now that he's added them to his game, his coach still isn't letting him use that element in actual games. So he's like, "Coach, what's the problem? Why can't I shoot?" And do you know what the coaches tell him? It's because I don't need you to do that. That's not your role on this team. That's not how our offense operates. What we need from you, Hassan Whiteside, what we need from you, Andre Drummond, is to catch lobs, block shots, and grab rebounds. You don't need to worry about doing anything else. So of course, even though they could do more, Andre Drummond and Hassan Whiteside are put into roles where that's all they do: catch lobs, operate 5 to 10 feet away from the rim on offense, and grab rebounds. Which I guess is fine, because if you're a player, you still have to do whatever it is your team asks of you in order to get these wins. That's part of your role. That's why they signed you to play basketball. That's why they're paying you millions and millions and billions of dollars. But at the same time, it will be so frustrating frustrating to know that you can do so much more. You can be so much better than you are right now, but you're not allowed to do that. And that's really why Hassan Whiteside had a huge falling out with the Miami Heat. And the problem with that being in the coach's mindset is, that's not what the coach is supposed to do. A great coach knows how to get the best out of every player on their roster. They know how to utilize every single strength of all of their players. And if you're not utilizing strengths that players have, then you're not doing the best job you can do being a coach. It'll be like having a nice convertible sports car, yet when you drive it, you never have the top down and you only drive it in economy mode. You're not using it to its fullest potential. And neither of those guys, as well as some other players in the league as well, were allowed to play at their full potential. And that's why some guys seem to be disappointing. I mean, imagine if DeMarcus Cousins was told, no, you can't shoot threes. You didn't come into the league being able to shoot, so you can't shoot now. Good luck, nice try, get your butt in the paint. He wouldn't be the same player that he is today. But it sounds like that is about to change for Andre Drummond now that Dwayne Casey is the head coach of the Pistons. And I'd imagine that if Hassan Whiteside is going to stay with the Miami Heat and everything's going to be fine between him and Eric Spoelstra, it's going to have to change for him as well. Anyways, that is going to do it for today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed, and if you did, be sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on post notifications so you don't miss out on future videos. Thank you once again for watching. You guys already know that you are the real MVPs, and until next time, I am out of here. Peace!